this the only Nat Turner Park in America? This is the only one in America. And the only one in the world. So give the friends of Nat Turner that made it happen, give them a big hand. They made it happen. I couldn't believe it. When they said they were having the opening ceremonies for Nat Turner over there, I couldn't believe it.
They didn't know who Nat Turner was.
I said, they must have put a spell on the city council. They didn't know who Nat Turner was. In the spirit of Nat Turner and all the ancestors whose struggle abolished chattel slavery of the African American people, the African people in this country. So we're going to start out today with Lift Every Voice and Sing. We'll do one stanza, the first stanza.
Let it resound loud as the roaring sea. Sing a song
Of a slave rebellion. Give Sister Elizabeth McGrady, give her a big hand. Secretary of the Red of Nat Turner.
Good evening, brothers and sisters.
Good evening.
We stand here on the anniversary of Nat Turner, as we do yearly, to commemorate the brother who has struggled long ago, but his struggle still continues on as we stand here today. Brother Larry said that he was surprised, but he led the groundwork for this park. This park was named back in the 70s. This land was dedicated as parkland and was named Nat Turner Park by our forefathers. The late Amiri Baraka, I believe it was Sharp James, Roger Smith, and others who said that this will be Nat Turner Park. It took many years to come. We did not forget, was not forgotten, but we stand here in this park that was designed by the community. As you can see, it's well utilized. We have to have it refurbished, but we still go on. We have our pool. We have all of this here for the community in the spirit of Nat Turner. So I welcome you. Thank you. We have new members here tonight. Then we have our members, as you know, Roger Smith, who is our historian. We know Roger is here with us in spirit, even though he is confined to a nursing home. But Roger is well loved, well thought about, and always remembered. And I thank you, Pop, for being here. I thank you for bringing attention to Nat Turner Park, because there are still people in the city of Newark who do not know who Nat Turner was, let alone this is Nat Turner Park. Thank you again.
Thank you for the work, you and the friends of Nat Turner, for making this possible and giving us that history lesson. See, I didn't know it went back that far. Where's Jaleesa from the Popcorn Kids? There she is. Come on, Jaleesa.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
And, I'm going up here. And the reason why I wrote this poem was because I was tired of seeing things that were going on in Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri. And I believe us as black people, we should not have to live that way, especially in 2014. So this poem is called Hands Up.
Hands up.
Hands up.
Hands up.
Hands up. Guns drawn. Light flashes before my eyes. I am a black woman in America. I am just as familiar with lying down on the ground as I am lying in beds in prison. America wasn't built for the black man. America was built to keep down the black man. Dressed in disguises of a suit and living in the White House. Truth be told, he's no different than a man walking down the street with sweatpants and a t-shirt. They say profiling doesn't exist. I say unless your skin is brown. Or unless your last name is Bell, Weaver, Brown, or any other last name on a tombstone as a result of being gunned down. Hands up!
Hands up.
But there isn't any party music in the background. Just a scared black man kneeling to the ground. Pow! Call it in. 12:43 p.m. Why must we be second class? We built monuments for a country that builds jails for us. Oh God, who do we trust? Most of the time, the ones behind the guns look just like us. Poverty is the new excuse to keep blacks confined. Brainwashing blacks is like emptying gold mines. We were knowledgeable kings and queens. Now we're associated with half-price hookers and dope fiends. Where's our dream? Hands up, nigga! Voices from offices itching to pull the trigger. The media looks at the issue through a microscopic lens, but the issue is much bigger. You're mentally sleeping, Black America. Practice what you preach. Stop killing your very own and fight for justice in these streets. Hands up, black man. With picketing signs and loud voices. The future is in your hands. Start making wise choices.
We fought in the Caribbean,
Yes.
where we were first enslaved,
Yes.
and we fought against slavery here in the United States.
Yes.
Historian named Herbert Aptheker wrote a book called Slave Rebellions in the Colonies. And during the colonial era alone, there were over 400 slave rebellions. I don't think there were 400 settlements in colonial America, but there were over 400 recorded slave rebellions, which means that there were even more than that because most of them went unrecorded. There were lightning struck. So resistance took many forms, but ultimately there were armed rebellions. And Angie gives us in the brochure a timeline of some of the major rebellions that took place. In 1712, there was a major slave revolt in New York City. See, where there was an American colony, there was slavery, including New Jersey. In fact, the most active slave port in the United States was not down south, was not Charlotte or one of these southern coastal cities. The most active slave port in America was New York City. And where Wall Street is today, and it was John Brown's ultimate goal to liberate all slaves by force of arms. The plan was to raid Harper's Ferry, which was, what do they call it? An armory. And to distribute weapons to the slaves. And there was going to be uprising, but as usual, Uncle Tom sold them out, you know, and eventually they were uncovered and they were hung in Virginia. But John Brown's rebellion is seen by many to be the real beginning of the Civil War, even before Fort Sumter was fired upon by Confederate troops. So this is a timeline of some of the major rebellions that Angie put together. Rebellion. And I decided to read it because it's the great I don't trust myself. And until the first sign appeared, I should conceal it from the knowledge of men. And on the appearance of the sign, I should arise and prepare myself and slay my enemies with their own weapons. I should arise and prepare myself and slay my enemies with their own weapons. In February 1831, there was an eclipse of the sun. Turner took this to be the sign he had been promised and confided his plan to the four men he trusted the most, Henry, Hart, Nelson, and Sam. They decided to hold the insurrection on the 4th of July and began planning a strategy. However, they had to postpone action because Turner became ill. On August 13th, there was an atmospheric disturbance in which the sun appeared bluish-green. This was the final sign. And a week later, make their plan. At 2 o'clock that morning, they set out to the Travis household, where they killed the entire family as they lay sleeping. They continued on from house to house, killing all of the white people they encountered. Turner's force eventually consisted of more than 40 slaves, most on horseback. And that's significant because black people weren't allowed to ride horses. The horses were only for the militia. That's right. By about midday on August 22nd, Turner decided to march toward Jerusalem, the closest town. I don't know, I'm getting scared. I see signs, and I'm marching toward Jerusalem. By then, the word of the rebellion had gotten out to the whites. Confronted by a group of militia, the rebels scattered, and Turner's force became disorganized. After spending the night near some slave cabins, Turner and his men attempted to attack another house, but were repulsed. Several of the rebels were captured. The remaining force then met the state and federal troops in final skirmish, in which one slave was killed and many escaped, including Turner. In the end, the rebels had stabbed, shot, and clubbed at least 55 white people to death. In total, the state executed 55 people, banished many more, and acquitted a few. The state reimbursed the slave holders for their slaves, but in the hysterical climate that had nothing to do with the rebellion, were murdered by white mobs. In addition, slaves as far away as North Carolina were accused of having a connection with the insurrection and were subsequently tried and executed. The state legislature of Virginia considered abolishing slavery, but in a close vote decided to retain slavery and to support a repressive policy against black people, slave and free. So that's a brief synopsis of Nat Turner's Rebellion.